I think you said you've raised like £1 million roughly in the last 8 months, is that right?
It'll be over that now.
Yeah, probably over that now.
We've got 2 properties completing this week, and then we've got 4 due to complete in the next 2 weeks.
So we've probably got 5 that are going to complete this month, yeah.
You need to be phoning straight away and getting your viewing booked in. I think anyone who tries to overlook agents is missing a trick.
You're getting off-market properties where you're not having all the competition of everyone else.
When the surveyor came, it had a staircase, and the surveyor fell through it.
Yeah,
really? What?
Yeah. We paid £39,000 for this, so we avoided stamp duty. We're getting all our money out, so it's an infinite return on investment. I'm not going to lie, I got knocked back quite a bit then. We're going to have to leave loads of money in this deal, like 30 grand. Water had just been running through from the top, literally from the roof, and just rotting absolutely everything. So the floor was just dropped, and because it had dropped, all the internal walls had cracked. Right, the roof's fucked. I kind of hate selling properties, but I want to sell one now.
It is a methodical approach.
No, it isn't even my problem, but it's got to be my problem now. It's been completely rewired, completely new gas central heating system, basically the whole lot, and it's coming to around £40,000. This is like a top tip.
The man decides to break down, blow up, whatever, that's on you.
Skips are a lot of money. This deal was found actually for an empty homes officer.
Found a builder online to come and do the roof, completely botched it, made it worse. All money out deal, plus profit, let's build a house.
Look, if you find a property run down, I'll give you 500 quid. London is full of money. Sometimes you can get caught out. I'm telling you now, that is not a boiler to be kept. We're going to make it the best in the area, so we're going to get 575. Yeah. There's no doubt about that. we always push the ceiling rent.
Alright, so we're in Wales. We're going to meet a very successful property couple today. They've raised £1 million in the last 8 months in private finance. They've bought £1.6 million worth of property in the last 8 months, and they've also sold 70 property deals. So let's go see them now.
Turn left onto Cross Street, then turn right onto Cliddock Road.
Right, we're here outside the property.
How'd you go there? I'm just, basically the builders have bloody left the because this has got a leak. Cheers mate. This has got a bloody roof leak, this house. Yeah. And they've left the bucket here to catch the water. But it's bloody overflowing now, so it's just running down here. Fucking hell. It was left for 10 years, this was.
Yeah, wow.
And the owner just left it. It was all boarded up. It was completely derelict property. We got a survey done on it, and the survey said the roof's got 30 years in it, so we didn't factor in for the roof to be done. Said the surveyor came round, professional, you pay a professional to do it. He said 30 years it's got left in the roof. We got it. It had 3 different roofers round who said the roof's going to have to be completely replaced. So
how much is that? Like £5 grand?
Well, it's
3.9
for the main roof and the extension, so everything replaced. Which means the felt's going to be changed, the battens are going to be changed, everything, and then the scaffolding's 900.
Yeah, so 4,800 in total.
Yeah.
Which is a nightmare because the labour bloody project as well.
Yeah, it's a nightmare because all we have to do now is we have to wait for good days for the roofer to get up there, do the roof. Yeah, he thinks he's going to get it done in 3 days, but I don't reckon it's going to be 3 days. I've given him a week to get it done. So
when the surveyor came, it had a staircase, and the surveyor fell through it.
Yeah,
really?
What? Yeah. This is a staircase. Look how rotten that is.
Oh my goodness.
This is what it was like, right? And the staircase came down to here. And I said to the surveyor, and when he came in, I said, look, you're going to have to be careful, mate. You're going to have to be careful with everything. And then I'm stood over there, like, talking to him, and he's going down the staircase, holding onto the banister like that, and then he just goes, everything just drops, and he's falling through the staircase.
Was he injured or?
No, he was fine. He was all right. Yeah, he was in a suit though. So. No. This is can you see here as well? Previous fire burn. It's had fires. It's had everything. It's had absolutely everything you can think of. It's had it. It's had the water had just been running through from the top, literally from the roof, and just rotting absolutely everything. So all the lintels have been replaced.
Well, this has just been that for 10 years.
Look at that. It's just pure rotting. There's even mushrooms growing in it on everything. But yeah,
have a little snack.
We need to all the windows were pretty good. We've only replaced a couple of windows, but it was a 4-bed with an ensuite. But what we're going to do to add a bit of value here, we're going to keep this as 1 bedroom with an ensuite. Yeah. We're going to have this here up to about here. That's like a good sized bathroom, family bathroom. And then we're going to have a big bedroom there, master, and another bedroom there. So it's going to be a 3-bed with a nice sized bathroom and an ensuite in one of their bedrooms.
And then what did you say you paid for this one then?
So we paid 39,000 for this, so we avoided stamp duty. Because if you get it below 40 grand, you don't have to pay stamp duty. And then we reckon because of the roof, it's probably going to be coming in at around 40 grand for the refurb, and then the end value is going to be about 110,000. Rental, 650 per calendar month.
So it's a decent return on that capital employed.
Off the top of my head, you're challenging me. Off the top of my head, I think we're getting all our money out. So it's an infinite return on investment pretty much. So no return on investment, just infinite.
That's decent.
Yeah. That's if we get the 110, which we're hoping to get, because there's one just down the road, half a mile away, that is currently, well, it's sold for 110, and there's one literally on the market, sold subject to contract, which is probably going to hit land registry soon at 120.
Okay.
So we're hoping for 110, but if we get 120, even better. Surveyors, what they'll do generally is go to 1/4 of a mile to begin with, look at the comparables that are there, and then they'll go out to half a mile as well and look at those comparables as well. They don't really go out to a mile, but they will if they're struggling with comparables. They'll never go after a year, so the year is like the maximum they'll look at, because they need to look at the current market. And if it's over a year, they won't even consider it really. The only way they'll consider a comparable that is over a year is if it's on the same street, because they want to see how that street's performed over time.
Yeah, because we was looking at one, I think it was just over a year, but it's just 4 doors down.
Yeah.
On the same terrace street.
Yeah. If it's on the same street, the surveyor will look at it just because they want to see how that street performs, because street by street, they differ a lot. You've got to compare apples with apples. If you've got a 3-bed terraced house that's got a forecourt, compare it with a 3-bed terraced house that's got a forecourt. Don't compare it with a 3-bed terraced house that hasn't got a garden and you walk straight out onto a main road. You can't compare those sort of properties. You've got to compare the same sort of property. But the most important thing is the size. So the size is so important. Looking at the EPC register, having a look at what square meterage that house is, but also looking at the condition and the area. They're the 3 main things that people look at.
Great point, sir.
Subscribe for that one.
If you don't know the right builders, you can get a dodgy tradesman who's going to do you a bad job. You can pick your choice of which ones we go around to today. So I'll give you like a little description of each of them. But yeah, we have one core build team who we met, and they had a team of 3. They've now expanded to a team of 11. So we've expanded with them, and they just do a lot of our projects. We sort of manage them and stuff like that. We're looking to actually employ as well, so employ people who are multi-skilled. So we sort of have total control then, so where they are and manage them.
They're not going to be doing other jobs for other people.
Yeah, so ultimately we want to have a building company, so we're sort of like a one-stop shop. So it's sort of like the sourcing service, then it comes into the the legals, where you obviously outsource that. We might in the future get a conveyancer to do that, and then obviously we have the build team as well. So we actually have our own building company, and then on the end we have a letting company as well. So that's ultimately where we want to be, a one-stop shop for an investor.
Yeah, we put a new RSJ in pretty much as soon as we started, really. Isn't it? That went in a few weeks ago. It was a wooden one in it before, wasn't it? It was like crumbling. That wasn't holding up much.
Completely insufficient. So we had to get structural engineering, and he basically said that, well, you could see when you were upstairs, the floor was just dropped, and because it had dropped, all the internal walls are cracked as well. So they all had to be stripped out, and yeah, the floor had completely dropped, and that was due to the fact it was a wooden RSJ. So it literally had a wooden beam running all the way along there, holding up the whole of upstairs. So yeah, the structural engineer came in and was like, there's no chance in the world that is going to suffice building regs. So we had to get a steel RSJ, and you can see the size of it holding it up.
How much does something like cost then?
So the RSJ itself cost about £250 to make up, deliver. And then you probably want to usually factor in around about 800 for the actual build work as well, because the thing is you need to get about 3 or 4 boys to lift this up.
And the previous owner, he had bought this like years ago, and he was a London investor, and that had a roof problem then, and I think the story was he had found a builder online to come and do the roof, completely botched it, made it worse, and then he didn't have the funds to kind of like continue. And he bought this actually on a mortgage, didn't he? Because he had like a 50k mortgage on this, and he sold it to us for 39, so we had to write off a big chunk of that himself. And we came in, and from where the water had been coming in through the roof for so long, it had ruined the joists, didn't it? Like, you can see the cracks upstairs in the walls where from the floors like dropped. So you can see we had to put in some new joists and then strengthen some of these. But we've got videos of me with Ian literally grabbing the end and it's just crumbling. How they didn't, when they were working upstairs for ages, how they didn't fall through, I don't know.
If we didn't have to do the roof, we had 15 weeks on it. Now that's had to go over because we've had to get different roofers in, get different opinions, which takes a while to get the roofers out in the first place, because we didn't want to take the first roofer's opinion because the surveyor said it was fine. So we were like, well, it's fine. So then when the roofer came out and goes, it needs completely replacing, we were like, oh, you just need some money. And then we got another roof out, they said exactly the same thing. We got another roof out, said exactly the same thing. We were like, right, the roof's fucked. You know, we're probably going to end up completing this in 20 weeks. What we've actually done before in one of our properties up in Treorchy is our builder's gone to knock through here. Can you see where they've knocked through to actually rest the RSJ on? Yeah. They've knocked through, and the wall was about 4 or 5 inches thick. And he could actually feel the wallpaper of next door, and he was touching the wallpaper of next door because it had gone so far through. So
he said he wanted to make sure he was there to fit with his boys because he had a hunch that that wall wasn't quite thick enough. Yeah. And he was like, I wanted to keep an eye on that. So when they like took it back, and then he could like literally poke next door's wall. Imagine that, just start watching your TV and some
Knocked you in the head.
Yeah. So it's really important you have enough sufficient, you know, you have sufficient support in order to hold the RSJ on.
How did you find it? So, how did you find this deal?
So this deal was found actually for an empty homes officer. Right. So basically, you can sign up to empty homes lists in your local areas and your local councils, and they send out properties where basically an empty homes officer has found a property and they just fire it out to investors because it's an absolute shithole, and the owner just wants it gone. And an agent that we know very well actually got hold of it. And he was like, guys, you know, do you want this property? I can pass over your details, and you know, I'll get the lettings on the back end if that's all right. And we were like, yeah, go for it. So it's actually through an empty homes officer.
Wow, that's a golden tip there. Golden tip.
But yeah, there's thousands of empty homes within the UK. It's disgusting to think compared to like how many people are actually homeless. So there is people, there's specific roles to try and bring these. So the amount of people, like if someone's passed away and they've got no family, that literally sits empty for so long. So yeah,
this house is like quite well known around this area. We've got that derelict place just opposite as well, so it's quite known, these two together. And whenever I'm speaking to agents, they always try and get these properties as well, the agents, because they're like, oh, we can sell that property easy. So they try and get hold of the owners of the property and stuff like that. And every time I'm with an agent around this area now, I'm like, I got hold of that property. And they're like, you bastard. So this was the living room. Still going to be the living room, open plan. Staircase there as it was, porch there. Then you've got a nice sized kitchen here. Do you know what's funny? What's really funny? This is why you don't always listen to surveyors. The surveyor said keep this boiler. Now I'm telling you now, that is not a boiler to be kept. But yeah, now this was the bathroom. So what we're doing here now is we're creating a utility area here. As you can see, the First Fix Electrics has actually been run for the utilities. So we're having a utility area there, a little sort of stud wall here, toilet.
Okay.
So you've got a downstairs toilet, so people can go to the toilet downstairs, but then you've also got a nice family bathroom upstairs as well.
Nice.
New window there as well, because that was all smashed in and boarded up. We're going to have a new front door. Been completely rewired, completely new gas central heating system, basically the whole lot, and it's coming to around £40,000.
How did you get as well this like builder knowledge that you've got? Because you're quite knowledgeable in it. Is it just from experience, from speaking with builders and doing projects yourself, or is it something that you've looked?
So I ask a lot of questions. Whenever I'm with a builder, whenever I'm with a structural engineer, whenever I'm with a surveyor, he probably wants me to piss off, but I ask him every single question. Like when he was falling down the staircase, I was still asking him questions. I'm always asking questions, like anything I don't understand.
So what's your opinion on the staircase?
What do you reckon? Why do you reckon that fell through? Well, it's wet rot, mate. But yeah, I just ask a lot of questions, and I always pick out the good points of a set, like the things that sell a house. Like, oh yeah, I'll give you the best end val. But this is another thing I just want to show you. This is what we do on all our projects as well. We have got some tools from it before. And what we do actually want to change about this is we want to, the next ones we print, we're going to put on £500 referral fee for every person you refer who's looking to sell a house. And what that helps then is all the people that are walking past all day long are going to think, oh, I want to get £500. I know Auntie Bet that's selling a property. Or, do you know what I mean? And it also helps as well because the amount of tradesmen that walk in and out of here, and tradesmen are always in properties that are run down and always speaking to landlords who might be looking to sell their properties. And if they're going to get a £500 referral fee, they're going to be like, yes. So I've got loads of calls from builders going, oh, you know, I've got, you offer referral fees, don't you? Like, because I just spoke to them. I need to put it on these, but it's because I've just spoke to them all the time. And I go, look, if you find a property run down, I'll give you 500 quid. Like, you know, if you pass them, and our builders are ringing me all the time. Like, oh, I've got my my auntie's mum is selling her property, or you know, my friend's selling their property, you know, a landlord who's looking to offload. I get calls all the time from builders doing things like that. And that way, you're getting off-market properties where you're not having all the competition of everyone else as well. So you can get some access to some good deals, because someone who's selling a property, they're either looking for price or they're looking for speed and certainty. And if you can provide, sometimes it would just be speed and certainty that they're looking for, not price, because they're motivated sellers and need to get rid of the property quickly. And if you can find those sort of people, you're onto a winner and you'll get some really good deals.
Right, we're on our way to the next one. Interesting one, this one, because the property had a lot of subsidence. So yeah, we're going to go check it out.
See how they dealt with it.
Talk about the numbers as well, because I know that's what you want to see.
We're ripping this out, so this will have a new dwell fall. This is a bit too low at the moment because it doesn't meet regs. But it all kind of sunk into the middle of the house. So we created this step to try and make everything more level. Put new door liners in, increase the height because they were quite short. But if you come into this room, without this floor, because we created this floor, and we tried to level it. So if you see that window has fallen, when you originally came in here without what we created, I felt like our surveyor. We sent a structural engineer in just to make sure there was no further movement, because of the local authorities have done a lot of work to stabilise the grounds with coal mining. And he phoned me before he sent the report to be like, have you been in there? And I felt physically sick.
Yeah. What? Yeah. So as you can see, like, can you imagine this floor wasn't here?
It was flat today.
It was dipping. So what we sort of had to do was run sort of wedges that were like high. So they were higher up that end, and then up this end they were just sort of levelled out like that. And then we run the floor along, so it's pretty much brought it up, because it was all dipping down that side. So as you can see, it's brought it up a bit more straight. But the main thing was the problem with the all the things that were visual. So this was like, can you see where it was?
Oh yeah.
So that was like that. So we've had to straighten everything up, and we've pretty much done that everywhere.
You can still see it on where we ripped the skirting board off.
Yeah.
So if you see the gap on that wall to where that runs to there,
you'll get in the
in this room, it pretty much feels perfect. If there wasn't that, we'll just chuck some curtains over that and it'll hide it.
This ceiling as well, it was a lot worse than that. It was honestly like, it was just like that. So we've had to basically pad out the joists and then put an extra plasterboard on it to basically bring it as level as we possibly can. Because that's the only thing now that's really visually off, sort of like level to the eye now. So what we're going to do is just put a curtain pole, a curtain, and you're pretty much looking quite straight in here then.
How long do you reckon till this one's fit like complete then?
So we are looking about 2 weeks on this one. So we've still got to put the doors on. We get doors from Howdens. They're like cottage style doors. They're really nice. Then we've got to paint everything. It's had its first and second coat. We just need to paint it one coat of like the final nice coat. What else do we need to do? Skirting, all in here.
With this place, the original deadline was this Sunday, I think it was. But when we started work on here, like these walls were crumbling. So I think we've put ceilings up and everything, haven't we?
Ceilings have come down.
Yeah, all the ceilings came down. Like there was one point you walked up here and all you saw was the pillars. There was no walls, and we were strengthening them, didn't we? So that added quite a bit of time on at the beginning, so that's knocked us over a little bit.
It was pretty much like Howard Street, you know, the one we've just been to. It was pretty much like that, where it was just the stud walls, without the plasterboard on, because we had to knock through everything. It was a lot more than we expected, and you don't know that until you start knocking, knocking things around. You don't know what you're going to come up against.
See from this side where the original door was, so you can see this one is now really straight, and we've had to put a wedge in this side from where the original gap was like.
Purchased the property for £60,000. The refurb was originally 14,500, but I think it's going to end up coming in at around 15,500. The end value is minimum 95, probably looking at 100, and the rent is, I reckon, 575 now. We originally estimated 550, but the market's pushed on. We're going to make it the best in the area, so we're going to get 575. There's no doubt about that. we always push the ceiling rent. If you make it the best place in the area, people will pay that extra £25 per month or £50 per calendar month to have the best place in the area. We do leave money in this deal.
So what did the end value realistic will be 100 on this?
Yes.
So 75% loan to value can be 75k. We bought it for 60. Probably going to leave, by the time you've added in fees, you probably leave a couple of grand plus our sourcing fee in the deal. 60k purchase, 16k refurb, 15k refurb. You're looking at breaking even on your loan to value, and then it'll just be your fees and our fees left in the deal. So it's probably about 6k.
It's a decent deal. So basically, how I got this deal was off market through a letting agent that introduced me to an estate agent. Now we've got such a good relationship with that estate agent that sold this property to us that he brings every single property where a seller wants a quick cash sale to us off market.
That's golden.
But we bought a really good one through him for us. Where we purchased the property, we got it quite a lot below asking price. We bought it for 32.5. It's a huge property. Properties that have sold nearby, if not on the same street, are sold for 160. Our refurb's going to be about 25, but the garden goes back for so long. What we're going to do is cut it off. It's still got a really good sized garden. We're going to build a house, a coach house on the bottom end. So not only all money out deal, plus profit, plus build a house. Our valuations in terms of refinances, they've been pretty spot on, if not higher.
I think it's just the experience, isn't it, of doing end vals.
And
knowing your area as well. And you know, knowing your area, knowing what things get around the area is really, really useful. And once you know your area, it's powerful. And also building those relationships with estate agents to the point where if there's not sold comparables on Land Registry, you can speak to agents and go, what have you sold recently that hasn't hit Land Registry? You've got access to extra information then. Like, we've got an agent who gives us access to Rightmove Plus, which only agents can have, and they pay £1,500 a month for. And when I want a sold comparable, when I'm struggling with comparables, I say to them, oh, can you just check out this postcode on Rightmove Plus, and they'll chuck us comparables that haven't yet hit Land Reg, but we know they're going to soon. So there was a property that we bought in Treorchy. We had a 110 end value in our mind on this property, and I've walked in there and I've gone, what do you reckon this will get end val? And she's gone 90. I've gone, really? What, you think this will get 90? She's like, yeah, there's no chance this will get more than 90. This is, this is this street. This is why it will get that. This is why it will get that. And I'm not gonna lie, I got knocked back quite a bit then. I was like, 90, that we went back and forth, this estate agent is like owns this area, and they're saying 90. If we get 90, we're gonna have to leave loads of money in this deal, like 30 grand. I was like, this isn't a good deal anymore. Hannah was like, no, I'm confident with it. I'm confident it's gonna get 110. Ended up getting 135.
We always create valuation packs. A lot of valuers won't take them because they'll think you're trying to do their job and they'll get a bit arsey. A lot of people will take them, whether they're doing it to humour you or they will look through it. But we will always demonstrate why we've arrived at our figure. It's not a case of we bought it for this and spend this, so we want that. It is a methodical approach, and it's saying, like we've mentioned about size, we'd say, look, this had sold a couple of doors down the road for 150, but we appreciate it's 15 metres square bigger. We appreciate it's got a front bay window, it's got X, Y, and Z, so we believe ours is X, and it makes sense. So I think if you can really show that process as well, and especially when we're sourcing, if we can show that to our clients, it just gives more confidence that you're not just plucked a figure up in it, isn't it?
Yeah, but what you'll find with surveyors is you want to create this amazing place for a valuer to come in, and you know, you want it to smell nice, you want it to do all of this, and they spend 2 minutes in the property. I'm not even joking. They sometimes spend less. They come into the property, they walk up the stairs, they look in the attic, they walk back down, and they walk out the front door. And all of that refurb, you're thinking, I've done all of that work, and they just walked in, walked out. All they do is just walk through measuring with this, you know, what do they do with the laser? They just measure. They just measure the house. That's all they want to know, the size of the house. They then want to know the condition of the house, which they can do just through walking in 2 minutes. And then they just want to know the area. That's all they want to know, and then they base that in value and compare it to others that are the same size, the same condition.
Also, going back to, because you said that you got this through an agent who knows another agent, what would you say is the most effective way that you've got deals from? Is it through like social media, through networking, and building relationships with agents?
All day long. They hold the majority of the market, like especially like the older generation. They've been brought up with selling through an agent, and you hear of all of these scams from We Buy Houses Quick. So many people don't choose to go down that route unless they really are motivated. So I think anyone who tries to overlook agents is missing a trick. But I think for us, and we've touched upon it a few times on the relationships we've built and how powerful they are to us now. It's just about sticking to your word. We had an agent phone us before, and she was like, I've got a property, but it has to sell quickly. No messing around. I can't have any changes to listers. I need someone who's committed and they're going to complete. I don't even want someone to have a survey. We made sure there wasn't, because there was any red flags or anything. It was just, I think this person was about to be repossessed if he didn't sell very quickly. And we'd gone to one of our investors who we know, we completed in 2 weeks. And straight away that agent now knows they can complete. They mean it if they're going to do it. So they know if they need a quick sale, they do phone us.
We actually got a phone call from
she phoned us last week, didn't she? Yeah. She said, can you come to this property? It's being listed tomorrow 10:30, and we were there.
We were spending what, £400–500 a month on Facebook ads with paying the person who we outsourced it to, and we weren't getting any leads. And we had tried it for ages.
Not good, not ones we wanted.
Yeah, so we thought, right, we might as well focus our energy on something that actually is giving us results, which is building relationships with the estate agents, getting our processes so we're quicker on the market to get deals when they go on the market. You know, direct to vendor strategies such as letters, you know, through you know, to run down houses, send letters through to them. Obviously don't target that person, but say that we're looking for houses in the area. If you're looking to sell, please get in contact, and then follow up as well. Keep following up so that when they do come around to selling, because they have got a rundown property, they remember you. They remember you. And a lot of people, they've got a really rundown house, but they don't think about selling until someone's given them a letter, and then they might go, you know, it's on a plate now. Do you know what I mean? So, and also derelict properties as well. Go on LandReg, find out who actually owns the property, have a look on LinkedIn, Companies House, Facebook, try and reach out to them. If you can't find them through those means, you can then send a letter to the actual address that you've got through the land registry, which could be their new address. If that then doesn't, you know, if you're not getting any success, then you could then be doing things like reaching out to the empty homes officer and saying, look, there's this empty home, I'm trying to get in contact with them, can you please get in contact with them and let me know if they want to sell their property. So there's a lot of things you can do in order to get hold of people to see if they want to sell their house. So usually we go with a cookie cutter effect, where we go white metro tiles and grey grout, and we just sort of replicate that with this suite. But our investor he basically wanted some style and wanted to basically make it look a bit funky, and he went with this. And when he did go with this and he showed us the tiles, we were a bit like, you sure? You sure? Now they're on the wall, they look really nice, don't they? So yeah, I mean, we always go for a nice shower. We didn't have space for the fridge, and the fridge was going to have to go there, and we didn't like that. We thought it was quite odd for a fridge to just be there. So what we've done is we've basically bulked out the wall a little bit to here, so a fridge can just go nicely fit in here.
Well, and what's going to be there?
And here, so we were debating for ages what to actually do with this, and we were like, I don't really know what to do. Do we just block it up? But then we were like, no, because the light that comes in here is nice to come into natural light coming into the living area. So what we've done is the worktop that's going to run along here, it's also going to run along here, and it's going to run onto there. So it's going to be like a nice worktop run onto there. This is all going to be plastered and all fresh, so it's going to be like a nice modern serving hatch.
There you go, kids. Right, with all the dinner ready.
Yeah, so we thought that's going to go really, really nicely, especially with the new worktop running onto it as well. So that's the sort of effect we've gone with it. I say 10-year warranty, and Baxi boilers get 10-year warranty. Baxi, we always do that sort of thing because they're good. They're reasonably priced boilers. They work well. They're easy to fix. So a lot of gas engineers say, and if you've got that warranty as well, it's perfect.
Yeah. A quick pit stop at KFC, just like the last day in the life. Got to make it happen.
It's got to be done.
And then they're going to take us to another deal that's near completion.
I don't know about all you viewers, but I've learned loads today. So can we get a little smash on a like, a little comment for that one?
Next one, hopefully it's this one. Must be this one, hopefully it's.
Georgia. Yeah, Ian came into the property and he was like, right, I wonder what's going on in here. So there was like a wooden plank over there, and he pulled it up, and it was the original staircase, the original minor staircase, and it curls all the way down to the downstairs, but it's been blocked up downstairs. It was so interesting because it's literally, they're about that thin, the stairs. I don't have a clue how they used to get down those stairs, but it's literally like, they used to be about 4 foot, the people that lived here, like in the minor days. And it was amazing. I've never seen it before in a property that we've been refurbishing. It was pretty cool.
This place we're due to kind of finish all build work Friday, so we've patched all walls now ready to paint, fit the cupboards, all the bathrooms have been finished today, and the kitchen will be upstairs and finishing that as well. So the plan is finish Friday, maybe a few odd jobs left on Monday, flooring's going down on Tuesday and we'll snag then on Wednesday.
Yeah, just that last little push now, isn't it?
How many do you reckon you've got that's going to be completed like this month then, March? You've got to cover up now.
Ox definitely.
Ox, Bulford, Whitton.
Whitton.
Webster. Eleanor.
So we've got 4 this month that are going to complete.
Webster will as well.
Webster will as well. So we've probably got 5 that are going to complete this month, yeah.
But then we've got 2 we'll have 2 projects still on the go, one that you saw earlier. Howard and Cross, another big one still on the go. We've got 2 properties completing this week. We'll be collecting keys for Friday, and then we've got 4 due to complete in the next 2 weeks. We're just waiting for set completion date, so we'll go ready for and bring the next batch through.
Yeah, we've got 30 properties and legals at the moment.
Yeah.
So it's
Is that all for yourself or sourcing some of them?
It's a mix of both, yeah. When we were talking about the doors that we go for earlier, these are the sort of doors we can go for. As you can see, they need another coat, but yeah, that's the sort of style we go for. Door doors from Howdens. Haven't got the handles on yet because we leave the handles on till last until everything's painted. Otherwise, it gets painted on the bloody handles.
Is there any like main things that you look out for when you're doing a film?
Japanese knotweed.
Japanese knotweed, especially in South Wales, Japanese knotweed. It can really catch you out, especially if the owners, and they do it all the time, they cut it so you can't see it. Japanese knotweed is an absolute nightmare because mortgage lenders basically won't lend on the property unless you get a treatment plan, and the treatment plans aren't cheap. They start at like 1,500 for the minimal amount of Japanese knotweed, then go up to like 5 grand. Even more. They're really expensive, and yeah, basically a mortgage lender just will refuse unless you have a treatment plan in place. So there's definitely.
Why is it even bad? Because I knew about Japanese knotweed, but like it's just planting it.
It's not that bad, but it's been listed as bad, and the mortgage lenders get scared. It's not that bad, really. I mean, they say that it's an intrusive plant that can destroy foundations, but really it takes.
Then you've got specialists who say different.
Yeah.
And studies that say different.
It takes hundreds and hundreds of years for even it to happen as well.
But like a massive tree could do the same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And the way of treating it as well is there's 2 ways really. The best way, but it's expensive, is just excavating the ground, or you can just use herbicide treatment, which is basically spraying it. But they have to come back like every 6 months throughout a 3-year period. 2-year period, sorry.
And there's a 3-year observation period.
Yeah.
And then your insurance plan kicks in then for 10 years.
10 years, yeah. So pretty much you have got a guarantee there for 15 years ultimately. Sometimes you can get caught out, like especially if it's like just in a wall, just sprouting out of a wall, and it's only a little bit because it's been cut back. There's no way you can really see that.
A lot of people go as far as they'll look in the garden and that's it. But you always tell me how you've climbed over some wall, you've gone around the garden, you've been in the next door neighbour's garden because you know the different places it can. Because if it's in the neighbour's garden, that can potentially affect you as well. So that needs to be treated.
If it's within 7 metres of your boundary, you know, your class is having jumping knotweed to a mortgage lender. So even if it's in the neighbour's garden, you're going to have to treat that for the neighbour in order for you to get a mortgage.
So you literally just climb over the neighbour's garden?
No. So, so say I'll be in like, say I'm in the back garden of.
Just doing a viewing night. Start doing parkour running across the building.
I pretty much am. Like some gardens are like so overgrown, and I'm like touching through them like that. But I always make sure I'm actually trying, even if it's overgrown, I make sure I go through it and just check everything. I'm like looking for the knotweed, and then sometimes I get to the back of the garden and I'm like, right, now I need to look over the neighbour's garden. So I look at the neighbour behind, the neighbour to the side. I'll look over their fence, see if there's any signs of knotweed. So many times there have been, because there's not knotweed in this garden of the house we're buying, because maybe it's been treated, or maybe the previous owner has basically got rid of it or excavated it, whatever he's done. But the neighbours haven't. So then you look over the neighbours and you're like, oh, no, it isn't even my problem, but it's got to be my problem now. In terms of other things we look out for on viewings, I mean, obviously look out for cracks, any sort of signs of structural movement. That's important to look for. I mean, little cracks in plaster, like hairline cracks, you get them all the time. No worry about those sort of cracks at all. Cracks really that you need to worry about are ones that you can sort of see daylight through. They're the ones where there's some structural movement there. Other things we look out for, roofs are so important. So we always go to the front, like I'd step to the other side of the road, look up at the roof and just see if, you know, it looks in good condition. Are there any slip tiles, anything like that? Because what you've got to think about is it's not just the roof that needs to be fixed, you've got to pay for scaffolding as well, which isn't cheap to get up onto the roof. So yeah, roofs we always look at.
Damp, always assume there's damp. You just need to figure out if it's rising or penetrating.
Yeah, rising damp, so on the ground floor of properties, rising damp is just sort of where you've got like tide marks that go along like that, and they look like sweat patches. The skirting usually gives you an idea if it's rotten because the damp's rising up. In order to stop rising damp, you have to put basically the most common method of doing it is hacking off the wall, a metre high, hacking off the wall, and then pretty much treating it with a damp proof course. So putting in a damp proof course so then water can no longer rise up through the walls or the surfaces. So yeah, that's pretty much damp. Penetrative damp, that's another one. I mean, if you see damp, like say for example I saw damp here and it was like a patch like here, I would instantly go, right, there's a reason for that, and it's coming from the outside, it's penetrating through the property. So firstly I'd look at the gutters. Are the gutters good? Sometimes the gutters are defective, which means the water is obviously smashing against the wall and making its way in. There could be something like, if it's brickwork, the pointing could be in bad condition. So around the brickwork, it could be perished, which is letting water in. It could be render. So what else do we look out for? I'm just trying to think of other things.
Electrics, boilers.
Yeah, important. Obviously, boilers are really important because they cost, they cost a lot, don't they? To replace. I mean, if we're looking to replace a boiler, you're probably looking at about 1,000 to 1,500 to replace a boiler. So
there's a lot of properties that we pick up where it actually needs a full new gas central heating system installed. There's no radiators, there's nothing, and then you're looking more like $3,000
to run the whole gas central heating through all the rads, all the pipes, everything like that. Electrics, it's good to look at the electrics, have a look at the consumer unit. A good sign that it needs a rewire is if there's if it's basically a rewirable fuse board, it definitely needs a rewire. There's that. You can also look at like sockets and stuff, have a look at sort of what condition they're in. It sort of gives you an idea of when it might have been wired. If the consumer unit is RCD protected or RCCB protected, they can basically protective devices that comply with current regulations, and it shows that there's some sort of rewiring that's been done recently, which gives you confidence that it's good. But ultimately you have to get an electrician in to double check everything, but there's signs that can help you guide your decision on whether it needs a rewire or not.
Another thing to look out for as well is properties next to, opposite, near commercial units, especially if they're restaurants or takeaways. Lending, you'll be really restricted on lenders, but your insurance premiums, if you manage to get insurance, will be sky high as well.
Yeah, that's another thing as well. If we can and we can fit it in, we always put a bath into our properties, into our rentals, because of families, it attracts families. What I was saying with rising damp, like water's rising up, surveyors have different opinions. We have one surveyor who says hack it off, put a DPC in, foam injections, and create a damp-proof course. The other surveyor says we hate damp-proof courses; they're almost ineffective. We need to tank it. So it's just an opinion, really.
Tanking's more cost-effective.
Yeah.
So this one then we purchased for 65, and the roof is coming at 16.
15, 16.
15, 16.
I think it's brought down to 15, isn't it?
Yeah, we
were going to do the lean-to roof, but we don't have to now.
And the M value on this, minimum now, we're looking at 110.
Yeah.
So, I mean...
110, there's actually one sold just down the road for 115, so we're looking at,
What do you feel that the market's like in Wales? Like, cause you seem to be getting like a lot of deals sort of thing, and like up north, a deal will come up and then it's just snapped up straight away.
It is the same here, in the sense that if you get an alert saying there's a property that obviously matches your criteria, you need to be phoning straight away and getting your viewing booked in. If you phone an agent, say, what day are we on now, Wednesday? If you phoned an agent today and they said, oh, we can't fit you until next Wednesday, don't even bother, it'll be sold. You need to make sure you're in within a couple of days. You want to be the first in, ideally.
It's the relationships as well. It's the agent relationships. Like the guy who we co-sourced this deal, so the guy who got this deal had a relationship and got that deal. A lot of the time it is relationships, because once you've built that relationship with that agent, you know, they're pretty much going to want to sell to you over anyone else because they know you don't muck around.
So with most of your deals, is it all just other people's money, or is that your own investments?
For our purchases, we've always used investor finance. We've never used bridging finance. We still have a bit of skin in the game, so we'll cover part, especially obviously like the fees and stuff. And we calculate the interest into our deal. But yeah, every property that we've purchased has been leveraging investor finance. Yeah, and it's just giving that investor confidence as well that, you know, you've got other businesses, you've got other means that you're going to be able to cover that money if there's money left in the deal. And you know, you can offer security to those investors as well, give them security to show them that, you know, we have confidence in this deal, we can give you the first charge on this property to show you that we have confidence in this deal. Yeah, I mean, don't go running off telling everyone you're going to give them a first charge. Like, actually make their money worth a first charge to begin with, because if someone's giving you 10 grand on an 80k purchase, that doesn't need security.
So how much money have you raised? Because I think you said you've raised £1 million roughly in the last 8 months, is that right?
It'll be over that now. Yeah,
probably over that now. We've built a really good relationship with an investor who basically gives us £350,000 on a rolling fund. He's been very successful in business. He's sold his business for 10 million and he's just got money sitting around. The best thing for him is to basically build his pot without having to do a single thing. He can be sat on a beach and his money's just going to grow. So we've got a great relationship with him. We've raised loads of money through family, we've raised loads of money through other investors, but our main investor is the £350,000 rolling fund.
So we're going to go to the next deal and they're going to give us all the tips of how to raise finance from other investors. So keep watching to the end.
What we call Project Cross. So we're in Merthyr, and this was formerly a 2-bed, so we converted to a 3-bed. So we're on the ground floor at the moment. So this is the kitchen, and with the old kitchen as well. So yeah, nice, looks out into the garden. Loads of rubbish out there at the moment. We've got some scaffolding, I think, still up. So we had a roof leak. What we're doing is we're ripping that out, knocking this wall down to extend the kitchen slightly, make that all run nice, and then what we'll do then is we're running a stench through here. come through here and into the bathrooms. We can plumb a toilet in there as well. And then a really nice sized family bathroom then as well. So the toilet will fit in here, a little bit of a nice bath, and as you've seen, like with the other reefers, it's probably really dark for you to see on the camera. We'll do the same thing here as well, where we'll put in a nice P-shaped bath here to give the space to do so.
There's still reading damp on the walls, so we don't want to plaster over damp walls. So we're giving it a few more, maybe a week or so to basically air out to see if the moisture leaves the walls. And then we're going to assess whether we actually need to hack them off and do the damp treatment and stuff like that.
Our tip is, so we obviously will put in nice Highlands kitchen, we'll have the integrated obviously oven and cooker and the oven hood, but we don't put any other appliances in, because as a landlord, any appliance you put in that property, you're liable for. So if you put in a fridge freezer and that decides to break down, blow up, whatever, that's on you, and you need to replace it and you need to fix it, you need to insure it. So the least you put in, the easier life you're going to be.
You know, skips are a lot of money. When you're when you're throwing things in skips, you're paying about 250 for a large skip, and I think you're stupid to put wood in the skips. Burn it. Just burn it. That's what we do. Yeah, look, you can see our little patch there on the corner.
Couple of marshmallows. That's all right.
It's a 2-bed at the moment. Converting it to a 3-bed can be used as a 4-bed, and it's also, we're putting a toilet in upstairs as well. So it's going to be basically a 3-storey house. I think it's 115 metres squared. Converting 2-bed to 4-bed with a toilet upstairs, a family bathroom and a kitchen, and 2 living areas. So big house. Adding massive value, yeah. So yeah, this is going to be sort of like one of the living areas along with the one downstairs. So that area downstairs is probably going to be more of their living area, because it's got the kitchen next to it. It's got a nice little dining sort of area about it. This can be sort of more like a cosy sort of, you know, probably put the TV in here as well. So that's the feel we're going for. And the reason, you know, we could well have knocked through this and made this open plan into this room as well, but we thought, you know, people might want to use it as a 4-bed. So we thought this could be potentially a bedroom. As you can see here as well, this is what do you remember what we were saying about a damp proof course and the way that you have to hack it off a metre high? Yeah, you can see here that it's had a damp proof course before. Okay. Because that's the level of where it's been hacked off and then it's been replastered.
What's the numbers on this one as well?
Bought this for 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, we bought. It's coming through the vent. Should we go into it?
Yeah.
Well, that sorted then.
I think that works.
That's probably why they left it open.
Looks like a bloody ambulance.
Well, imagine just trying to sleep and it's shut off.
So we're probably at 24 on this for the refurb, 60 purchase, 24 refurb, and we're looking at 105, 110 end value again here.
What, more than that?
More than that, actually. That was on the 3-bed value.
There's new comparables that have hit, haven't there?
Yeah, no, I'm lying.
Probably 115 plus.
Yeah.
Maybe even more. Yeah, that's powerful, because when we actually got this deal, do you remember what we were saying earlier about how we get a purchase and originally we put an estimated end value, and then when the market picks up, so you know it's going to be 115 at least now. It was 105, I reckon 115 now. We've actually recently sold a deal not too far away from here, probably about 0.7 miles away from here, and that's looking at 125 end value. So
yeah, sorry, 105 on 3-bed. So if we hit 115 on this, the only money left in the deal will be our sourcing and project management fees.
Yeah, it's just the market at the moment.
Yeah.
The end values are just picking up and picking up and picking up. You know, the deals that we sell them, and then we're like, yeah, we're going to leave this money in the deal. That's fine, and then the market picks up. We've probably pushed this from getting a rental value with a 2-bed. 525, we're probably looking at like 625. Yeah, so
this will rent really quickly as well.
And this will rent really quickly.
We're probably looking at another 4 weeks on this, George. 6 max.
Yeah, 4 to 6 weeks, and we'll be finished in here. Yeah, I think that's a top tip I'd actually say is that a lot of people don't factor in for the fact that the wallpaper needs to come off. A 3-storey house like this probably take a labourer about a week and a half to strip all the wallpaper in here, and that's a lot of money. Like, and people don't factor that in. They just think, oh, we'll rip out the kitchen, rip out the bathroom, rip out the fireplace, and it'll cost 600 quid. But then you forgot that you have to pay a labourer a week and a half to do all the stripping of the wallpaper, and it's not some wallpaper's not easy as well, because it's really tough to get off, and it's all got to come off before you then go and plaster. So.
And you've been on the majority of the projects bar a couple today. So this one and the first one we started at are our two biggest ones on at the moment, and they'll continue. But our two of our own purchases, which complete on this Friday, are big ones. Like the one that we're buying, the one's a cottage, and at one point the only thing that's going to be existing is the walls. We're like hacking up the basement floors, having new windows, new doors, new roof, new absolutely everything.
Hannah hates selling properties, but I want to sell one now. I want to sell one and top up those pots. But Hannah's like, no, there's no chance. I don't want to sell properties. She hates selling properties. But I can see what she means, because once you've sold that property, you're like, put all that effort in. I just sold it. Like, I could have received the benefits over years and years of that capital appreciation, and also the rent.
What I wanted to ask is, like, what would you say has been an absolute game changer for you both, considering like what you've been able to achieve in the past year or so? And what would you say has like been the biggest mistake, or something that you would have done different?
I'll go with my biggest mistake first. Comparing myself to others was my biggest mistake to begin with. As soon as I didn't compare myself to others and I just focused on, you know, our own journey, that was when things started to really happen. You look at others, and there's two things really. You look at others and you think, oh, why am I not doing that well? Why am I doing that well? That puts you down. But you're also going to get shiny penny syndrome, because you're going to go, oh, look, he did amazing in rent to HMO. Let's go and jump over to that strategy. And then you just put in, you've been a jack of all trades and a master of none, aren't you? So yeah, I would say that, because every single sort of bit of energy you're wasting on looking at someone else and their successes, you're not putting that into your journey, and you're not sort of you're wasting energy and not putting it into your own journey. And every single bit of energy you're wasting could be put on your journey for your success.
Especially when people have like Facebook, Instagram, they only really show the good stuff. They don't really say like, today I had the shittest day ever, nothing went well. Like.
And I think in terms of what's been a game changer for us, definitely raising finance. When we first started, like, we started the sourcing business as a means to building our pot to then invest ourselves. Because when we first started the sourcing back in 2019, although George had been in the trade and I had done project management, and we self-taught everything. We'd never invested before. Sourcing was completely new, and even though I lived in Caerphilly, the areas we moved, you know the streets off the back of your hand now, it's ridiculous. But I think as soon as we started realising that the sourcing money could cover interest we pay to investors, that's when our portfolio, we just started buying properties left, right and centre, didn't we? And that's, I think that's opened up a new level of excitement for us as well.
I'd say we have always done this as well. We did it from the very beginning, because there were certain people we followed on social media and we were like, wow, they're doing well. What's the trick here? Oh, they're on social media. We've always done it, but I would say a massive game changer for anyone, if you're in the business, if you get yourself on social media, you guys know yourself, it's powerful. It's not just powerful for the investors you can find, it's powerful for the deals that you can potentially get as well. You know, agents follow us, they see how serious we are through watching our content, and then they'll message us and go, oh, I've got a deal. I'm like, oh, hello, nice to meet you. Do you know what I love about your guys' content as well? Is the way that you literally will get, you'll have a project that you're doing, or you'll have like whatever you're doing, and you'll document every single thing that you've done, the challenges, the best things, and so someone can literally see the beginning to the end.
That's what people want to see though, isn't it? And that's what they can then relate to.
I know the viewers are going to want to know how to raise finance. That's what they want to know the most. So you're the queen of raising finance, so how do we do it?
For us, it's always having confidence in your deal. When you're raising finance, you're actually helping that person. They've either got money sat in the bank making 0 points, and when you start to 0, so it's not good. So the fact that you can then offer them a strong interest rate, that you're helping them, not just they obviously funding your deal. So know that, have confidence with it. I think for us it's all been about building the relationships first. I know we've touched on social media a lot, but getting your personality out there. You want to work with people who are the same as you.
Is that where most of them come from Instagram?
We started off with family. We actually put a message out to our mailing list for our first deal, and some random, we couldn't believe it, did we? Some random person contacted us who's become a good investor of ours.
I was going to say, like, a lot of people don't think about posting on their personal Facebook and their personal Instagram and things like that, and they don't think to reach out to their family. Like, you don't know unless you ask. You don't know who's got money. You have no idea. And I think it's amazing that you can post on your personal Facebook or talk to your family members and ask them to ask family members and stuff like that, and ask friends, or even ask friends, because the trust element's already there. You've already built that trust with that person. So asking friends and family was where we started. And then from there, it was pretty much just content all the time on social media. Once we've done one, showing people that we're competent and we can do that, putting out on social media. LinkedIn is actually very, very good for investors.
Oh yeah, you guys smash LinkedIn, I always see that.
It is powerful because you've got a lot of people on there. This is like a top tip. On LinkedIn, you can literally search.
Smash the subscribe.
You can literally search angel investor
I've done that.
In the area you want to meet people, and then just meet them and have a meet. Reach out and go, look, I see that you're an angel investor, I can give you these sort of returns, can we have a meeting? And you meet up with them, and then you do all the talking when you're there. You just tell them about the deals.
What the investor will want to know is, you've got a loan agreement, ours has been drafted by a solicitor, so it's a solid loan agreement, it's a legal document which secures that side. The one thing they want to know is, what's my risk? If I'm lending you money, what's the risk to me on this amount? So obviously you need to know how much you're borrowing. So for example, it'll come down to what are the risks of the project, which are going to be the same each time. Refurb can go all over, property can be undervalued, property will take a while to sell, for example. And as long as you've got options for if any of those happen, for example, you're raising funds for the purchase price, but you're covering the refurb. So when you refinance or you sell the property, you'll more than comfortably repay the initial capital plus interest, because you've got quite a bit of skin in that game. The challenge comes when you're trying to cover quite a high proportion of the purchase price plus the refurb, because obviously they're investing their full funds. So in terms of security, you start off with your loan agreement, and I'll always say, depending on the amount of capital invested, will determine what security is offered. If I'm buying a 100k house and they want to lend me 90k, well, that's the majority of the purchase price, so more than happily we'll offer them a first charge on the property, which is what your mortgage or your bridging lender would have if they gave you that money, which is the security on that property. What we'll normally offer first is a restriction, so an RX1, which pretty much prevents us from selling that property until they've been refunded back. Restrictions are normally our preferred choice, because charges obviously show on your report, on your property, and if you're trying to buy other properties, it's a charge that they're aware of, so it can affect lending. So your loan agreement, your security, you'll find that some people may ask for PGs, personal guarantees, especially if they're working with you in the first instance. If you're starting off and I don't know, it's your first time investing, you have no other assets, then they'll probably ask for that, because of other than security of the property, they don't really have anything else. And there's always that kind of, well, it's great if it's got security of the property, but if you go in and do a shit refurb or something goes wrong and that's not a sellable property, well, it's all good that that's not security, but it's not really security. So that's where that kind of comes into play. It definitely all comes down with having the relationship, knowing your numbers, packaging it well, and packaging it well, being able to talk them through your analysis, how you've arrived at the figures, and just confirming how you're going to repay them. Because if you're looking at angel investors, even if it's family or friends, all they want to know is they're going to get their money back and how they're going to get their money back and what's the risk. And as long as you cover them, you're good.
London as well. London is full of money. If you go networking up there, don't just think of property events, think of business events as well.
That's a key one.
Yeah, there'll be a lot of business people that go to these business events and they have loads of money, and all they want to do is make money on their money, really. And if you can come to them and go, look, I can give you a percentage return, you don't have to do anything, you can put your feet up, they're going to be like, yeah, go on then.
Whereas property events, I know in London you'll still get the investors who are interested in JVs or doing fixed interest, but if you go to, I know like a lot of the ones in South Wales, we'll go to property networking events and there'll be 10 sources in the room, there'll be 20 people who are looking to buy their first property. That's not the right place where I'm going to go and find the person I need to raise the funds that we want. But when you first met an investor and they showed interest, log it, capture it somewhere, keep the relationship building with them. But once you've kind of agreed verbally or even on email that they're going to loan you the funds that you've requested, get a heads of terms drawn up, because the worst thing you want is someone going, yeah, I'll loan you that. You go find your property, you come back 8 weeks later and they've gone and used the funds elsewhere. So you basically want to say, if I can find a property within the next 8 weeks of the value you've mentioned, you'll loan me that money.
There's literally money everywhere as well.
Yeah.
Everyone has money, and it's just telling everybody what you do. That's what we found, and just literally telling everybody what we do, and then you just don't know what conversation you're going to end up in.
Alright, so I hope you enjoyed the video. These guys have got some incredible knowledge. Every single sentence they were saying was just a golden tip. So make sure you check them out on their social medias as well.
So yeah, where can they find you?
Pretty much Dugard Property on everything. Dugard Property Instagram, Dugard Property Facebook, Dugard Property on YouTube. But George Dugard on LinkedIn, George Dugard on Facebook, Hannah Robson on Facebook and LinkedIn as well.
Yeah, all of their links are going to be in the description as well, so make sure you check them out, because just check them out.